The views and opinions provided on this show are for informational purposes only and should not be misinterpreted as an offer to buy or sell any securities or to make or consider any investment or course of action. For more information, please go to passiveinvestorshow.com.
And now, the Passive Investor Show. Here's your host, John Fortes.
Welcome, PI listeners, to the Passive Investor Show. I'm the Passive Investor Consultant, John Fortes, your host of the only ranked podcast for passive investors in multifamily syndications and real estate funds. Our goal and purpose of this show is to be a resource to investors and help them master their passive investments by beating inflation 1% at a time. Welcome back, everybody. This is an exclusive Friday Takeovers. We're here with my man, Barri Griffiths, is the host of the YouTube channel, Wrestling with Real Estate, where he interviews people from all aspects of the real estate industry. His goal is to help educate as many people to the amazing benefits of real estate. For the past decade, he has been working in the entertainment business. He previously starred in the UK version of US Gladiators as Gladiator Goliath, then went on to wrestle on TV for the WWE as Mason Ryan, where he wrestled the likes of John Cena, performed on pay-per-views, and regularly appeared on Monday Night Raw. He is currently performing for Cirque du Soleil at the MGM Grand in Las Vegas. Welcome to the show, Barri. How did you get here, man?
What's going on, man? How you doing? Thanks for having me. I'm excited. This is fun. We talked a lot before. I love talking to you, man. So I'm excited to be part of this takeover, man. I'm here to take over.
Oh, man. So hold on. Before we get into all that, Barri, man, talk to us about how'd you go from wrestling to being on the Passive Investor Show, man? And having your own YouTube channel with Wrestling with Real Estate, which is brilliant, by the way.
Thank you, man.
How'd you get here?
Yeah, it's quite random. I don't think you've run into a lot of performers and Cirque du Soleil performers and ex-WWE wrestlers that might be investing in real estate. But for me, what happened was back in 2014, I became an accidental landlord. I had a house with a high mortgage. My contract with WWE finished, and all of a sudden I've got this high mortgage. I'm like, oh my God, what am I going to do? So looked into renting it out, went down that rabbit hole, found real estate investing, found Bigger Pockets, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, started looking to buy single family homes, realized, oh my goodness, single family homes is so much work. You know, there's no scalability in that. And then someone said, hey, have you heard about multifamily? You can buy one apartment building and then all those units are under one roof and you can get there so much quicker. And I was like, wow, I was blown away. So went down that rabbit hole, loved it, think it's amazing, love multifamily, love real estate in general, to be honest with you. And any kind of real estate, I think it's all fantastic. But now really love the multifamily syndication model and just, diving down that rabbit hole.
You know me, man, I love your background, and it's just crazy to just watch you grow in how far you've come in real estate as a real estate investor. And it's just kind of fascinating. And just to give people a background, an idea of how we met, we were part of the same mastermind group. I'm an advocate for mastermind groups. I love them. And I think it helps and benefits everybody. That's why I'm excited to see you grow and take off and where you're going. I mean, it's phenomenal with what you're doing in the space. But man, can you tell us, just update us a little bit on basically when you were wrestling with the WWE, right? Did you ever think about investing in real estate?
No. I talk about that a bit. I had zero plan B. So in my head, and it was good in some ways, I was going to be the world heavyweight champion. Literally, I didn't shout it. I didn't tell everyone, but in my head, I barely told anyone. Maybe I should have told more people. I don't know. But in my head, I was going to be the world heavyweight champion. There was no doubt about it in my head. No doubt about it. So I didn't need a plan B. My plan B was I was going to be the world heavyweight champion. And my plan C was I was going to be the world heavyweight champion, right? Which was good because you got to have that focus. But at the same time, it's okay to have, other ideas and have other plans, right? Because you need that backup, right? It's just when you just have one path to go down, you could be in a bit of trouble, right? So I learned the hard way, as I mentioned with my story about how I became an accidental landlord and had that situation. So through that, I realized, well, I need a plan B. I need a plan B because entertainment is so fickle, right? Especially right now, we're finding out even more time than ever, right? It's not, I'm not working right now, haven't done for the past 6 months. So I needed a plan B, and I've just fell in love with real estate, and it just makes perfect sense. It's that multiple streams of income, right? It's just really interesting. But as this is the takeover show, man, that's enough about me, right? I think everyone's got an idea who I am or whatever. You're the guy behind the mic, right? Or behind the camera almost, right? We need to put you in front. So tell us a little bit about what's going on with your world right now. Come on, I'm interested in what's going on with John Fortes right now.
Man, I'm excited about the recent podcast episodes that we released with Adam Adams and Devin Elder and the tax savings with Yona Weiss. And Yona's been just a wealth of information and just experiencing those conversations through the eyes of a passive investor is what we do here on the show. I mean, it's been, how to go through the operations of every business. And you notice that every firm is different. And that's the best part, right? And how do you improve your operations? And it's been just kind of like a blessing as I've kind of walked through my journey and building my firm. And man, I appreciate you asking, man. And this is kind of like a hostile takeover right now.
Not so hostile, friendly takeover.
Yeah, it's friendly takeover, but it's like flip the script on me, right?
So what have you, so through doing that, I know through doing my own interview platform that you learn a ton just by interviewing other people. It's just so great. So, tell us some key takeaways that you've learned in the past week, say, and from these great interviews that you've had.
Yeah, absolutely. With Adam's show, I learned about basically like the lead capture, right? So he was talking about maybe vetting the sponsors list. And I actually said on the show, I was in the process of generating like a questionnaire for, I think I actually do have one, and I give it to the bloggers, and they don't have no idea that they're getting it. So when they come through and they're tagged in my system, they go through like 5-week system of getting free content. I don't publicize. This is my first time I've ever spoke on it. And eventually one of those things is basically I give them a list of all the free websites that they can use to how to vet a location or an MSA. And then one of the packages that they get in the email is exactly that, the vetting the sponsors question. And it's all little things that I've kind of created along my passive investing journey. And now my initial lead capture is the investment tracker. And I found that to be more important than all of those other pieces, because if you don't have anything to measure your investments against, I guess you're making investments and just trusting in whatever they say, right? So you want to make sure that they're doing what they said they're going to do on the asset. And, if it doesn't meet the projections, sometimes it's a market that sets that standard. But if it's something that's really realistic in the business plan, you can really track that and measure it against others. But yeah, so with Devin, I learned about the investor portal and having messages behind your investor portal. And so having just kind of like being able to touch base with your investors on the investor portal. So having access to the portal, once you're approved as an investor coming through the funnel, it's just basically being able to talk to them through your portal and making sure you're communicating with them as far as like a video message. So when they log on, that you could press play and see, what the portal is all about, why you're here and what to expect. And then with Yona on that show, the tax savings, man, it was just, you hear on other shows the benefits of cost seg, but how does it affect passive investors? And, it was refreshing to have him come on and explain that in that light, because even on, he's huge on LinkedIn. He even shared the message saying, man, this was kind of like totally different and unique perspective on this show. And it was kind of refreshing because it wasn't the normal investor real estate conversation about the cost seg on that. So those are the things I learned on those 3 episodes with my previous guests, man. And it's just kind of been awesome. Oh, and the one thing about that, I had an investor send me a screen cap. Shout out to Steve. He sent out a screen cap of that episode of tax savings that he sent to one of his investors to tell them and educate them about the benefit of savings and tax savings and cost and depreciation, and that could help them in their, financial lifestyle. Right. So I thought that was awesome. It warmed my heart when I got that text, man. It was awesome.
out there providing value, right? And that's cool.
It's crazy what the platform allows you to do, because you're in one way we're selfish, right? We're creating this because we're creating this to understand how, to improve our processes and mechanisms going forward, but learning from others. But when we're sharing it with the world, it's pretty gratifying seeing that other people are listening and taking charge and putting things into action.
Yeah, very cool. So more on the podcast is awesome. You have fantastic guests. You have like some of the best guests around, and I love the concept of your show. It's just so cool and so different, right? It provides a ton of great information. But more on the active side, what kind of deals are you involved in? What are you doing more in the actual multifamily space?
Yeah, that's a great question, man. The 41 unit exited, I believe, in May. It's one of the months with the M. And we exited, it's so busy.
November.
We exited on the 41 unit. It was a 1.5 multiplier. And the significance about that is we only held it for 15 months to get a 1.5 multiplier return to our investors. And that was in the middle of COVID. And that was we wanted to keep it at the end of the day. But when someone's coming to you and throwing a boat at you, I mean, don't be stupid and spend the next 4 years trying to get the 100% returns that you projected. It's a smart move. It was cash flowing at 9%, and we just wanted to make sure our investors, it was good to give something back to our investors that trusted us on our first investment. And now, since then, in December last year, we closed on 528. We partnered. And that still through COVID has been distributing returns. It's been going. We haven't held. We don't say that idea is holding returns is completely off the table, but it's there. But we are in October and we still haven't held any distributions back to our investors. We've released them all through COVID, because when you raise capital correctly in the form of you have adequate reserves and you're raising enough to do your business plan, you don't have to worry about, the asset's still improving, still over 90% occupancy. So that's a big reason why. Like I said, as I was naming those things and saying, when you do it the right way, it solidifies what you're doing in the business, because the fact that you can still give your investors a return without having them to worry or lose sleep about this investment. You're investing in a firm that really understands what to do in situations like this. So, man, those are the active side, what we're doing. And as far as other things, we're looking to scale the properties. I mean, scale from there as far as my firm, the Fortes Company. As you know, I do some consultant work. I come from the IT consultant world. So I consult with other people looking to scale and grow their business in the multifamily space. I'm not here to try to teach you multifamily. You already do that. You already know that. You're learning as much as you can by doing, and you're learning as much as you can by reaching out and books, podcasts, and everything. So my goal is, at the end of the day, is to help you to optimize your business, your investment firm. So how do we do that? We do that through consulting sessions.
Cool.
So yeah, that's where I'm at right now.
That's interesting. Let's talk about that very quickly. What kind of stuff do you help them work on in your consulting business, just so that people have an idea? So someone is thinking, I might need some help in my business. What kind of stuff do you help people with?
Man, great question. But one of the things where people, when I connect with people, sometimes they say, John, you're everywhere. How do you do that? How do I do that? Or, they see me on LinkedIn, they see me on Facebook, they see me on Instagram, they see me on all the socials and stuff. And then I'm part of multiple conversations, and I'm always having investor conversations, but also, what does my back end process look like? I'm able to be freed up and be able to be everywhere because of the fact that I know that my back end processes are secure and sound, and they're running at optimum levels, so that if I got someone coming through that filled out a form, my workflows are going to direct them in the right bucket to be able to be contacted, or when they schedule a call with me. So having systems like that with your investment firm and making sure you're compliant within the industry. What does that look like? It might be, if you're a serious capital raiser, you might need to start exploring the fund, and the fund model is something that I really specialize in. I understand it. I know how to be compliant with it. It's not just raising money just to go and hand off. You can't do that in this industry. And small little boutique firms, when they first coming in, maybe they understand that they just need to assure and align themselves up with the compliance and responsibilities of that whole topic, right? So we consult on aspects like that. And like I said, we're not trying to teach you multifamily. We only work with multifamily investment firms. You already know the game, you know the business, you know the ins and outs. You go take down your deals. If you're acquiring, what does that look like? Go ahead and do it. But if you got back end office issues that you need to share up, we're here to consult with you, and it's just a service that we provide for you. And another thing too is we go through a SWOT analysis. So the SWOT analysis is the strengths, weaknesses, threats, and opportunities. And we go through that with your business and how can we improve that and optimize it so you can worry about, basically, when you're hiring us, we help you work in your business so you can go ahead and free yourself to go work on your business.
Cool. That's awesome. Yeah, that's so important, right? Because so many of us are guilty of just working in our business, and that's not really how you scale and how you grow, right? If you're always working in your business, how can you really grow your business that much?
That's one of the things, Barry, where when you're working in your business, you're almost creating a built-in excuse to keep working in your business and acting like you're doing something, but it's really not moving you forward when you need to be more client facing. And if you're more client facing, you're more present. And if you're more present, you're able to present more opportunities to your clients. So that's the end game where we're trying to get you to be.
Yeah. And I'm sure you've talked about it a few times on your show, but you talked about a fund there, right? Just for some people who may have just heard it for the first time. What does that mean and how does that work?
Yeah, the fund is just basically it's the opportunity to invest. So if you're looking to invest in multifamily, right? Why not invest through a fund where you can diversify it? For instance, if you got 500,000, Barry, and you know you're going to put it in 5 deals, a fund is essentially going to accomplish that for you because they're going to diversify. Now, here's why it benefits you to invest in a fund. So as a firm, Barry, maybe your firm is analyzing hundreds of deals a quarter and you're weeding out deals and you're qualifying, disqualifying. And if our criteria aligns where you're looking for value add, multifamily and all that, I would rather trust your firm's ability to weed out those opportunities than to analyze the 5 or 6 deals that I'm getting from 4 different sponsors a quarter, right? To make those decisions on, because if everything lines up, as I said, criteria lines up, it just makes more sense to work with one sponsor, one firm, but also there's diversification that comes through the fund. So you're not losing out on anything. You're not like, if you're going to work with 5 different sponsors and diversify in 5 different markets that you like, that way you're chasing down 5 different K1s at the end of the year. The firm that allows you to invest in the fund is you're just going to chase down 1 K1 and now you can go ahead and go about your business.
Yeah. And I think, yeah, as you pointed out there, funds are such an interesting way to invest in me because you're investing passively. Most people are investing passively for a reason to start off with, right? You don't want an active part in that deal. But like you said, if you're trying to invest in 5 different deals, you've got to, for the most part, you want to research the market, you want to research the GPs, you want to research the property. Well, you don't invest in the first deal you find. So you're going to be looking at a lot of markets, a lot of properties, a lot of GPs per se. But if you're able to find a fund and a company that runs a fund or a person like yourself that runs a fund, you just vet that person one time and let them. And then you've got to make sure that their investment criteria align with what you're looking for. But once that is done, they can work on all that stuff for you. And they're usually going to be have more of an expertise in that market and in those type of properties than you are. So it just makes it more hands off and you're leveraging other people's skills as well then to kind of grow your money and grow your investments.
Absolutely. We already do that passively and we call it 401k investing, right? Mm-hmm. So when you start thinking of it that way, like you're already doing it, but you're doing it with your personal 401k. You don't know what your 401k is truly investing in unless you got it in a Roth and you're making those individual stock purchases. But when you're in a true company 401k, you're allocating percentages to certain other funds that you have no idea what is in it or what is not. And it's just handpicked for you. This allows you to give you more control to understand that you are investing in value-add multifamilies. It's just you're not picking the opportunities. It's just another way to look at it.
Yeah. And that diversification is huge as well. Because, if you're just, like you say, even if it's 100,000, right? Take 100,000 and you just invest that in one property. That's just one property you're involved in. But if you're in part of a fund, you'll be able to spread that 100,000 over more than one property. So I think diversification is a big benefit to that. That's really cool. So before we go, was there anything else we haven't talked about that we should talk about today?
Nah, man. I think this has been awesome, man. You turned me heel on this show, man. I just got it, the Friday Takeover. I really appreciate you coming on, man. And Barry, real quick, how can the listeners learn more about you?
So I've got my YouTube channel, which is called Wrestling with Real Estate. I've actually got a podcast called the WWRE podcast, which stands for Wrestling with Real Estate podcast. You can also reach me at wrestlingwithrealestate.com. If anyone wants to find out more, that's a good place for them to start. So I also think as well, hopefully we'll do this maybe every 2 weeks or whatever we decide. If anyone has any questions, John, you can kind of guide them where to send those questions, and we can start maybe asking some questions as well that the listeners.
Absolutely. Send questions to podcast@johnfortes.com. We'll be able to just answer any of these questions for you on this show on the Friday Takeover, man. So subject line it, Friday Takeover. We'll be sure to ask those questions. Is that it, Barry? Is that all you got for me today?
That's all. You're safe, man. Nobody's
I appreciate
jokes,
you,
man. So yeah, no, nothing crazy. So you're safe for today, man.
Hey, Barry, thank you for stopping by, man. We really enjoyed the conversation. We really enjoyed the Friday Takeover. Investors, PI listeners, don't forget to download your free copy of the investment tracker. It allows you to track up to 5 investments, compare sponsors, markets, and most importantly, projected versus actual returns. To get your copy, go to www.projectedreturns.com. PI listeners, thank you for listening. As always, we hope this was the best resource for your investment strategy, but also the best use of your time. Remember, if this episode helps you, you can help us by leaving a review on iTunes. I hope you feel compelled enough to share it with someone you think this would resonate with as well. As much as it pains us to leave you, but you know what time it is. Time to go put this into practice. Till the next time we meet, happy investing. PI listeners, I'm grateful for your time and I appreciate you for listening. It would mean the world to me if you went to iTunes and left a rating and written review. Let me know how you feel about the show. It really makes a big difference with getting the podcast out there. Don't forget about our Facebook group, where all of our guests are members of. I'll be there to answer any of your questions, or even questions you might have for future guests. Subscribe so you can get the latest episodes and our fan favorite quick hitters. Finally, I want to keep you updated, so head over to johnfortes.com and sign up for the newsletter. If you're interested in partnering with me, sign up on the contact page so you can talk to me directly. I look forward to connecting with you. Happy investing.